So the first step is you're going to open up the brake fluid cap. You always want to make sure you can do that. Let the pressure out. So here, the cap is already, it's open now. So the next thing you want to do is you want to rotate the steering wheel such that you get access to the caliper. Mike, go ahead and rotate the steering wheel. Okay, it's good. Now we're going to pull these pins out right here. And we're not going to be reusing them. We're going to put new ones on, so we don't care where they go, as long as they don't hit you in the face. Just to get it moving a little bit. Okay, and then do this one as well. Okay, and that'll give us enough access on the other side to grab these bolts and just pull them out. Make sure this doesn't fly out and hit us. Okay. And let's take our tray. Get our tray over here. Thanks. So that one. All right. The hardware's out. Get a little piece of wood. And the wood is just there to take up the extra space. So we're just going to slowly push these pistons back. And then we'll do the same thing for the top up here. And that should give enough clearance to remove the pads. All right. So now, the next thing we want to do is we want to remove this caliper. Now, for a normal brake job, you'd probably support this caliper using bungee cords or something. Brembo brakes that previously came on these cars, it was also possible to simply loosen some of these brackets and move the caliper over and suspend it. But in this car, on this G37, unfortunately, we found that that's really difficult to do. So we came up with an improvised solution. Now, the official guidelines tell us that this brake hose has to be disconnected. And that just seems like, we will flush the brake fluid. I mean, that's inevitable, and especially in a high-performance vehicle like this. But at this point, we just feel like it's not necessary to disconnect the brake line. It seems like there's a lot more potential hazards introduced. So as long as you can get this to move away and get supported safely without bending brake lines or doing anything silly like that, then you should be good to go. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to show you how to do that. Yeah, that's what we found that worked the best. And also this cable right here, you want to make sure you're not actually grabbing the wire. And rotate that out of there. And these guys right here. All right. Are you breathing really hard? Is that you?
What?
I think you're breathing pretty hard, yeah. Well, don't stop breathing. Alright. So now this whole thing's loose, which is great. That'll give us room to maneuver this caliper around. Okay, that's loosened. Let's get the bottom one here. So this is a step where we want to take 2 blocks of wood. Mike, could you hand me that wood? And maybe move those brake pads over. And of course, the amount of wood, if any, really depends on the height of the height that your jack can achieve, and the yeah, right around there, I think is good. The height your jack can achieve, and you know, how high your car is off the ground. In our case, the car is not very high off the ground, so we can do this. So without bending the brake lines or doing anything stupid, this is kind of where it has to be. So why don't you move it over here? Right there. Yeah. All right. Go higher.
As high as it goes.
Okay. Well, actually, yeah, that's good right there. Yeah, that's fine right there. That's 12 millimeter. We're removing this so that we can press the rotor off. And before we actually remove the rotor, we are going to index the rotor. Thanks, Mike. So our marker is here. And the reason we're doing this is just, why not? Although one thing to keep in mind is that because of that hole, and because we used the screw to push the rotor off, it will leave a little mark on the hub. That also can be used as an indication, but we're going to have to index the new rotor on here anyways to make sure we get the minimum lateral run out. So I'm just going to mark one of these studs anyways. And then put a little mark up here. So we know that's the one where it goes.
So we now are going to attach a hub cleaning kit to the impact driver, cordless impact driver, to clean the hub surface. And the purpose of this is to remove all the rust and debris from the surface of the hub so the rotor can mount flat. Now we'll be using a wire brush to reach the areas that the tool could not reach. So the first thing we want to do is remove the old shims from the brake pads so that we will not damage them, because we will be reusing them. The shims are easily removed with a small flathead screwdriver. So remove the shims, set them aside. And now we'll be placing the old brake pads back into the caliper assembly so that we can use them in conjunction with the caliper piston retraction tool to fully retract the pistons. When we place the pads back in the caliper, you'll need to place the pins back in as well.
Can you shine in here because you're shining at that? Okay.
Now we'll be placing wood inside the caliper assembly between the pads.
Wooden brake pads. How would that work? Would that work? Brake pads made of wood.
So the wood will be placed in between the brake pads, and it will allow us to close the clearance between the two areas so that the piston retraction tool can function properly.
One of the most important things when you're pushing the pistons back in is that you want the pistons to go in and evenly. You don't want to scuff the bore of the caliper. It's the #1 destroyer of calipers. When somebody goes in with a screwdriver and just destroys the piston bore, you don't want to do that. You want to make sure this is centered.
Yes.
You slowly compress the pistons, and meanwhile the brake fluid level will rise. Can you actually? We should double check it to make sure.
We should check the brake fluid level.
Whoa! Don't hit that.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the second time you've done that.
Jack's aren't doing along tonight.
How are we doing there?
Brake fluid level is okay.
All right, I'll leave that open so you can keep an eye on it.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep pressing it in, and you tell me if we're getting close.
Okay.
How are we doing there?
Brake fluid level is fine.
Okay, I think we're done compressing the pistons.
Okay.
Basically, when it bottoms out, can you shine the light in here so we can see? Does that look like it's pretty much bottomed out?
Yes, those pistons look like they're bottomed out.
What about the other ones? It should be. Let me just pull these pins out.
So after you fully retract the pistons, you want to remove the old pads and the wood.
Yeah, don't leave the wood in there. Yeah, I can feel that they're pushed in
Okay.
enough.
Yeah, you cannot see in this video, but as you can see from the opposite side, they're all fully retracted.
You want to retract both sets of pistons at the same time. Because if you push one side and the other ones will come out.
Let's remove an extra piece of wood in there as well. Let's remove that piece of wood as well.
What piece of wood?
There's a piece of wood in the caliper.
No way.
Yeah, on the bottom.
Oh. Good lesson to be learned. Don't leave any wood in your calipers, kids.
Yeah, the caliper is fairly deep, so be careful.
Don't lose anything in there. Maybe using paper isn't such a good idea.
So in this step, we are cleaning the inside of the caliper, just to wipe off any excess debris.
I can actually see pretty well from this side too. Okay, that side looks clean. I'm gonna clean the side I can't see now. That's dirty. We could probably see the inside if we look from down there. A different angle.
Right.
I think once I'm done cleaning it, we'll take a look.
Okay.
You're pretty much done cleaning her now. Let me go down there and take a look real quick. Yeah, that looks good. No big chunks of grease floating around. Okay, so the caliper is pretty much ready to go back in, right?
Yes.
So what we need to do now is we need to index the new rotor, right?
Yes.
So let's figure that out. The first step is get the new rotor. This is an R1 Concepts premium rotor. Very good value and quality. Been very happy with these guys. So one of the first things I like to do is I like to find the old... Can you talk?
So one of the first things we want to do is find the location of the hole that the bolt previously contacted from the old rotor. So you want to look for that indent on the hub surface. So we're going to match that to the one on the new rotor as a starting point. After a new rotor is installed, we're going to install 5 conical washers, install all 5 lug nuts, and use a torque stick and an impact wrench to tighten them to 80 foot-pounds.
What the fuck's going on?
Here we are installing the lug nuts. Also, the vehicle has wheel locks. In this step, you do not want to be using the wheel lock as one of the 5 lug nuts. You want to source an extra lug nut for this task. Because it's not advised that you use an impact wrench to tighten a wheel lock.
I'm gonna go source another lug nut. Be right back. There we are.
Now we're using a torque limiting extension that will limit the output to 80 foot-pounds, and we'll be using that to tighten the lug nuts so that we can secure the rotor for the next step. Now that step is complete, the next step will be to mount the dial indicator. So now we'll be mounting the dial indicator so that we can measure the rotor runout. So find a secure location to mount the vice grip and complete the setup of the dial indicator.
want to make sure the tip is screwed on tightly here. Other things you want to do. Alright. I'm gonna tighten the flex arm over here so that there's not too much movement. So now I've got this approximately, it's supposed to be what, 10 millimeters away from the surface of the rotor?
Yes.
Approximately the correct distance away. What you want to do is you want 0 here, and you want to adjust this so that you notice there's about the same amount of distance between here and here on this traveling rod that measures the rod out. So we want to line it up to 0. So it's coming back to 0. So we're good. We're ready.
So after setup with the dial indicator, you want it to be at 0 before you start.
And you want to rotate in the clockwise direction.
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty low. Oh, there it goes. So that's 2 1,000ths right there. 2 1,000ths of an inch. That's 2.5 1,000ths. And back to 0. So this is 2.5 1,000ths of an inch. Now on the other side, what do we get? We got 0.
We have 0.
And you want 0 if you can get it.
Ideally.
So we're going to dismount and try to find a better location.